is podcast number 4 with Ethan. I've known Ethan since about third grade, I think. And so we go way back. Welcome, Ethan.
Thank you, thank you.
So I like to start this way. I know to me, like you always seem like the meta guy. You don't like to just do things. And this is my experience with you. You don't just like to go through the motions of things. You like to know big picture stuff, right? Behind the scenes, what's going on and all that. So I thought you'd be the guy I talked to about what's going on in this podcast. So are you into
Interesting.
podcasts or
Okay.
no?
I'm actually decently interested in podcasts. Like if I ever see like a recommended like podcast with like a name that I recognize, like I'll
Mm.
always be like, oh, like I'll tune into that. Like I'll listen to that while I do something else.
Would you care to reveal some of the podcasts you listen to? Or what platform do you use
Oh,
to listen?
so I'm not like super into podcasts, but
Okay.
like YouTube,
Okay.
um, they're typically like I'll listen to like there's this group of content creators on YouTube
Mm,
called Offline TV, and they just have like they talk about kind of like gaming and like online like Twitch streaming, like copyright, like that kind of stuff. So
right.
like when I want to kind of get some information from that kind of thing or hear that perspective of like people who are in that industry, I'll like listen to one of those kinds of podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened to some of your podcasts too, so
Well,
those
I
are
just started, so do I really count? But like, what do you think the idea? Like, just reach out to people I know. You think I could hit 150 people talk to in my life? Dunbar's number.
150 people like
150
to
people.
each do a podcast with.
Yeah, to each do a podcast with. Yeah.
I
But
think
then
you could.
it's not just 150 people. It's got a Dunbar's number is like a person can only have up to 150 meaningful relationships in their life,
Mm,
right? So if I do 150 like one a week, right? That means I talk to each person once every 3 years, and that's not a meaningful relationship, right?
sure.
And then it's like if I just talk to people just for the sake of hitting numbers, I feel that's not a real relationship either. I just like well I'm talking with you right now is just like as friends, and just as we are. And so I don't want the number to get in the way. But at the same time, I feel like that's my YouTube goal, or like that's my
Mm.
that's what'll make me stand out. But I don't know what will make me stand out really.
Do
I
you
think
think
just
do you think if you listed if you just took the time and listed 150 people that you considered like
oh I've done that.
meaningful? Yeah. So having done that, once you start getting, like 143, 144, do you start to like struggle to like think about like, oh, actually maybe I consider a more meaningful one with this person. And you like erase someone's name or something?
Mm.
Like what is that kind of like?
So I did this in an Excel sheet and I got to 60 and I got kind of stuck.
60.
So it's not even halfway to 75.
150 is a lot,
If you think
actually.
about it, right? You don't think of
Yeah.
like we do with calculus or math, right? We think big numbers, infinity, or 10 to the 23rd Avogadro's number or something like that. So like
Yeah.
150 is just like, what's 150? But then when you think about 150 people, it's like, that's kind of like, oh no, I actually might not meet this.
That's actually
But
really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and I thought about it. It's like, well, do I want to talk to some of these people? Yeah, no, because like I don't know. I feel that some people, if you have them on, like I don't know. I'm kind of afraid what we would talk about, or like it get kind of awkward, or I don't know if it'll be a shouting match or something, or
Mm,
it's just like I don't know. They just get off, you know. It's
sure,
like this
sure.
this this is this is insensitive. I'm leaving this podcast right now, right, or something like that.
Yeah. But
But
I think to your, I guess to your question though, I do think that you could like, you know, you did say you didn't want to just go for the numbers, but I do think you could, just because I think the concept of this podcast, like, oh, let's hear what the common person like has to say, right?
exactly,
Like if you're
right.
trying to get views like on YouTube or whatever, like you're obviously gonna try to recruit like some celebrity or something, right? Like people go, oh, like, I mean, that's the few podcasts I listen to. But like
Oh,
I think people sleep on the concept, like, oh, like what's the average, whatever. I'm American, right? What's the average American? What do they think? Like,
right.
or I guess Asian American in my case.
I
And
guess, yeah, yeah.
I think some people would be like, I want to get my opinions out and like kind of be like, oh, I want to try to get on this podcast because there's a chance that they could somehow make
Make
it out there, I
make it.
guess. I don't know. I
When
think
I texted you, Ethan, do you want to do this podcast? You were like, what? And then I was like, what do you? And you were like, what are we gonna talk about? And I'm just like, well, we normally talk about. It's like, don't think too much about it. And
yeah.
then I was like, I told you why I want to do it. It's just like the common person, and it's like, and then what do you say? You're like, this is my one chance to fame or
That was
something.
that was a joke. That was a joke. I think like if I cared about like fame, I'd probably have more of a social media presence. But
That's a
actually, here, actually,
okay.
something interesting. I've never done like that Dunbar's number listing. But what I
Mm,
have done is I've gone through like Facebook or Instagram followers,
mm,
and I look through my lists, and I'm like, wow, actually, I haven't talked to this person in like 5 years, and I'll just like, and then it's like I kind of just think within myself like, do I like, am I really going to be like connected with this person? And I'll just like,
mm.
so if the answer is no, I'll just purge them and I'll just start like deleting people,
Oh, really?
and
Okay,
it's like I guess that's the closest thing I have to doing that. I think it
I
it
see.
it's an interesting feeling because sometimes it's like, oh wow, like if I like delete this person, it's kind of like letting go of any possibility because I don't have any
Yeah,
of their contact information besides this random follower thing
right.
on Instagram.
Sure.
And so it's like I'm just probably never going to talk to them again unless I somehow see them through like another friend or something. It's like kind of
Interesting.
interesting.
You know,
Yeah.
I haven't been on social media since like COVID started, right? Because I
Right.
just
I
felt
do
that
remember that.
it's just too much going on, I feel, on there. I just don't
Hmm.
need that all in my head. I already have
Yeah.
enough of things going on in my head that I can't sleep. So I did that. But then the people I friend on social media, I also have to know them in real life.
Yeah,
Like it
for sure.
sometimes people ask to follow me. I have it set on private, I think, or something, so I have to accept or something.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that helps me like kind of filter through, and so it's just not just random people following me. So
Hmm.
it in a way, social media is my inner circle, I guess. But since I haven't used it since 2020, I don't know what's become of it. I don't know if because of this podcast to advertise it, I'll just put it on. I'll resurrect on social media again. I don't know. I've been thinking about it because right now I don't think anyone really knows besides the people I've interviewed, and it's just I guess their circle of friends. If they share with it with someone, then they'll get something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say like for example, like middle school or even high school,
Mm,
like they're just people that like, okay, like I talked to them in classes once before, like I'll
mm,
accept like the follow or I'll even send the follow, like back when, whatever you're doing as like a high schooler, like getting
right.
followers. Even well, I guess I started my Instagram in college, but I was like, oh, like I can add high school people because I'm just never gonna see them. But then later I realized like, wow, like I'll get like notifications about like their posts and I'm like, and I'll like get a feeling like this is kind of annoying. Like I don't even know if I want to know about this person's life. And I realized like maybe that relationship, using that terminology, maybe it's not actually that meaningful to me. And like I think that's where I that is actually I really find that interesting, like the Dunbar's number thing.
Number thing. But do you find
Yeah.
it weird, like if you got rid of them as a friend on social media and you see them in real life, isn't that awkward to reconnect? You just don't want to reconnect with them then, right? Or something?
Well, I guess it'd be in the sense of like we were already drifting apart, right? Like maybe we wouldn't
Right.
even be called friends anymore. We would just be like acquaintances. And it's like, how would we even like reach out to the other person, I guess.
That could have happened to you and I too,
That could have.
right?
It
It
could
could
have.
have.
Yeah.
But you always trace it back to one event that changed things, kind of. KPCC, right? We were at the same camp, and then we had a deep conversation about cheating, I think
Yeah.
it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't go into the details because that could spark some stuff. But about that, it's like let's go into this idea of like putting because clearly we're speaking right now like between
Mhm.
ourselves, but like people are gonna hear.
Yeah.
So are you afraid of saying something and then people will take it the wrong way and then you get
Um,
canceled?
I'm not afraid of getting
Yeah.
canceled. Um, I guess like I would like to say no, but
Mm.
then again,
You don't know until you actually
yeah,
are
like
in the.
nothing has come out of my mouth so far yet that I'm like, oh, cut that, cut that, cut that.
Alright.
But like it is, no, that is interesting. I do like I don't like cancel culture. Um, but I guess here I would just say that like for people that know me,
Mm,
I would be a little bit like, oh man, like would their opinions change of me if they just heard me talking about like X and Y and whatever?
I
And
see.
like, yeah, I don't know. That is interesting. I think
Did Donald Trump get canceled by getting kicked off of Twitter? Do you think? Is that a form
um
of canceling or no? There's a good reason why he's kicked off.
I think for something like that though, there's two sides because sure, like he got kicked off, but that also will just like stir more people up to be like, yeah,
You
like
know, he released
he's fighting
his
for
own social media
I
now,
have
right?
heard of
Truth
that. Truth,
Social.
Truth
Truth
Social.
Social. Yeah. Number one in the App Store right now,
Yeah.
right?
Is it released? Released this
It's
February.
released. Yeah, you could
It's
check it out right
released.
now.
Have
Truth
you
Social.
have you like downloaded it?
No, I didn't download it because I don't use social media. So for me, it's like, I don't know. But like, I think for a guy like him, you just can't get canceled. He's already canceled so much, generated so much attention that you just can't cancel him. I guess for me, it's like, how do you cancel me? You know, you just don't watch the podcast. Like I have nothing to cancel really. You
That's
know,
true.
maybe if I get like 50 people or 150 people, then it's like, oh, it's like
I
Like
guess
Joe Rogan was almost getting canceled, right? And so
hmm,
once he became a big guy, you know, then people started thinking he's a platformer. But he still admits like the stuff he says is dumb, you know. I don't and same thing for me too. Like some of the stuff I say might be dumb. You know, I'm not an expert. I don't hold a PhD or anything. So I'm just saying stuff.
it's
And so
true.
yeah, that might happen. But I think I'm also vulnerable doing this podcast because I'm spiraling from the closest people I know outward. So like if you
Mm.
wanted to bring down Austin, I guess you could just take down the people near him. So like you're kind of up there, right? Number
This,
four.
this
So like
tactics.
yeah, you could bring me down this way, you know, just isolate me by knocking out all my friends, like targeting my friends, you know. I guess this is a great way to cancel me. So I
Interesting.
don't know what you think about that. But if
Well, I will
someone tries to
say
yeah, what will
no,
you
go ahead.
say?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If someone tries to cancel you, I'm coming after them too. I'll
I
defend you.
think like the concept of getting canceled, like, yeah, like you said, like for people like us, like, yeah, like, what's that really gonna do? Like, oh, maybe the people who like don't mean anything to me will be like, oh, I'm gonna unfollow this guy. Like, what's he doing?
Right,
And
yeah.
I would like to think that if anything came up, or was misconstrued in some way, like the people who I do care about would like reach out and be like, oh, like what happened? Like, what's up with this? Rather than like,
Mm,
because the thing with cancel culture, I think that's really toxic is that like once that kind of train gets rolling, people just hop onto it. They don't even care what the actual thing is. They're just like, oh, this guy said this, cancel them, cancel them, cancel them.
right. He's
Like,
racist.
yeah, it's like
He's
they'll dig something
transphobic.
up from like
Yeah.
20 years ago and be like, yeah, yeah, oh, like get him out of here. And
Yeah,
it's
he's
like,
insensitive, things like that.
yeah,
Right. I
and
feel that too.
that's it's like
You don't
I
like
mean,
hopping on bandwagons though. I think majority of people they like to hop onto things once it gets kicked off, but you're not that type of guy, right? Or maybe you
mm,
are in some cases.
maybe some cases. I'm not
Some
gonna say
cases.
I'm like different.
I see. I see.
I think I have my fair share of bandwagon.
Okay,
Bandwagon.
okay. You know me. I don't like
Yeah,
the bandwagon.
I know
Yeah.
you don't like to.
Like,
We almost you almost ended the our Wordles like
oh, here we
really
go.
early
Wordle. Yes,
just
right.
because
Well,
you want
I
you
wasn't gonna
wanted
cancel you over Wordle. I'm just stating my opinion. You thought you took it too far. You want to explain what happened so the internet knows what's going on?
wait, what do you mean too far?
So like with Wordle, I was like, I didn't know. I guess I gotta tell the story then. So Ethan introduced me to Wordle, and at that time I didn't know this was like this internet like
Mm,
fad thing, right? I just thought this was a game like Ethan wanted to play with me, and so I always saw it as something just between me and Ethan. And so when I realized that this is like getting bought by the New York Times, and this is a big thing going on, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then Ethan, what did you say? You were like, wow, I didn't know you were that petty or something, or like,
yeah,
wow,
so
right?
so
What
for
would you
me
say?
it's kind of like so I mean my sister was the one who like introduced me to it.
Uh
And
huh.
so like so I was like I would like send Wordles like to my sister and I was like,
Right.
oh, like I should just send it to like I'll like send one to Austin, like send it to people would like find. I sent it to like a few other people, but not everyone like wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I think like I don't know, it's just like laziness or they just like not interested, just whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was like fun to see like oh Austin got it in this many tries, I got it in this many tries,
Yeah.
and it was like a regular thing, right?
Mhm.
And it was
Mhm.
like this was I think this was a bit before like it really gained like a lot of traction, like you said, like getting bought by New York Times.
Yeah.
Like
It was
that,
only like
yeah, that happened like a few weeks after, maybe, or maybe a week
Yeah,
after. And then
definitely.
I was like, dang, Austin, like you're just gonna let just because like some guy or just because like you saw it on a random post or something like on social
The
media.
news. It's on the
The
news. It's
news.
not social
Okay, all right,
media.
all right, on the
Yeah.
news. It's like just because you saw in the news, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm just gonna stop doing this thing. And I was just like, wow, like does that mean like anything we do now, as soon as it starts to get traction, you're just gonna drop it?
Because like I don't like to do things that get traction because I feel that it's like the precursor to clicks or something. And then I was explaining this out to you, like doesn't apply in Wordle because it's just you and me, right? It's
Yeah,
not gonna create a hive mind of like people all thinking the same way, that yada yada yada, things like that.
because I think
But
like for
uh-huh.
something like Wordle, like it's a very just like fun little game that like it's just like actually in a sense it's not even just you and me. It's just us against the word, right? It's like I at least gotta figure out like what
Yes,
this is.
true,
And
true.
I will say I think by now it's evolved to something much like maybe a little bit crazier, but at the time it's just like it's just you and the word. Then it's like, oh, okay, now I want to share with this and another person. And so it's like
Mm,
now it's you and me. And so it's just like this fun thing you like kind of introduce, right? Like, oh, um, I got it this many times. I got it in this many tries. And you gotta have a
right.
short conversation about it. It's always just like fun to just kind of have that there in a sense.
Yeah.
It's like, I will say like now, like Wordle has reached a point where it's um like certain people. I will say I think I'm probably one of these people. It's like if I ever fail the Wordle, it's like that's gonna be like such a sad day.
Embarrassment.
Yeah, because it's like
Like me yesterday. Trove. We'll never forget that word now.
that was a crazy that was surprisingly weird.
That
Like
was wow. Okay.
there have been some crazy words coming out, like swill. That was I had never heard of that word before.
But you didn't fail. You didn't haven't
I
failed yet.
didn't because I think
Right. You don't want to fail
you ha- you
either.
you have to be pretty like unlucky, I think, to fail because normally you can kind of like having 6 tries. Like just think about like the amount of letters you have. That's like 30 letters, right? 6 times 5, and so it's like
That's more than the
a,
alphabet.
a
Right.
five. Yeah, it's more than alphabet. So like obviously that's not necessarily how the math works, but like technically like you could like like it's
Right.
harder to fail unless you get unlucky. Like
I
there's
was
been
being
times.
dumb. Yeah. I was using the same three words because it's green.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
Right.
what I do too. That's like hard mode. That's like it makes it harder for you.
Right. Right. So I was trying to play hard. Yeah.
Because there
Hard
are
mode
people who
rather
use
than.
strategies. They'll do words um like waltz, cynic, magic
Uh huh.
to like get as many letters as possible, and then
Right.
they'll just guess the word on like the
You
fifth
watched the
try.
three blue, one brown. He did it. He built like algorithm, and like the best word is crane, but then not really. He edited it later on. He's trying to
Uh
find the best word to start. But the thing is, if you do the best word to start, it's probably not going to be that word. That word is just to help you later on, right?
yeah.
You get rid of the first try. Versus if you just randomly guessed, you might have gotten that. I don't know.
I'm actually trying a new thing. I'm starting my every single day, I'm starting my first word as quack because
Quack.
quack. And I think it's just fun to it's kind of to challenge myself. And also it's like I I mean I think quack is a noun. So it's like I
It's a
think they only do
verb like
nouns.
ducks. Quack, quack, quack.
But it's also a quack like that doctor was a quack. Like it was a fake doctor, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
And
didn't know it
so
in that context.
I think like yeah, I think it's just fun to like kind of challenge myself there and then to be like, oh, maybe one day I'll get the quack word in one. But
Oh,
like you said, we talked
like
about that, right? That's just luck. Like, oh, does it align that day?
no, but if you try randomly, I don't know. Is that a if you just try quack every single day? I guess probability. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because the word can't be the same before. Can the words repeat? I don't know.
No, they shouldn't be able to
They
repeat.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to repeat. So if you try quack, I guess keep trying quack. I guess one day you'll hit it eventually.
Yeah, I'm also like, oh, the one day they put a Q in, I'll be ready because I'll have quack.
But then it's Q always goes with you, so it's kind of like that. That's one reasons why
It's
quack,
true.
yeah, is
It's
rare.
it's technically like a bad word, right? But I think
Quack,
it's
like a doctor's a quack.
like I meant like it's a bad starting word. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
right, right.
strategically it's not
Strategically
good.
bad.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess.
it's very fun to like go for that. But
Is that Winnie the Pooh in the back?
yeah, it is. I
With that
got it.
with a backwards
It's
baseball cap?
it's a bike helmet actually.
It's a bike helmet. Do you wear it when you go biking?
I used to, but I don't go biking anymore.
Do you have a bike where you are?
No, the bike I gave it to someone else
Oh, okay,
because I didn't
okay.
need it anymore. Yeah.
So you just drive around for you?
Oh no, I'm able to just walk. I enjoy walking a
Oh, you
lot.
can walk to campus?
Yeah, I can walk to
How far
campus.
is that?
It's like, I mean, just to reach the first dorm, it's like
Uh-huh.
1 minute.
Oh, okay, that's pretty quick then.
Like for my classes, it's probably average like 9 minutes to like 15
Oh,
minutes.
you're doing plenty of walking then.
Yeah.
Like on your walking on your Apple thing, do you look at the number of steps you had? Like I saw
Oh, I actually haven't looked at that in a
you haven't
while.
looked at it in a while? So I saw 2019, like 7,000 steps a day. I'm like, yeah, because you're walking every day at Rutgers, right? And then
Wow.
2020 just dropped to like below 1,000 a day. And I just like,
Oh,
yeah,
you
no
didn't
wonder
really
I'm
go
growing
on
fat.
walks during that time?
I went on walks when I first got home, but then that's during the summer, right? Or spring.
Mm,
And so it's very comforting, relaxing, take a deep breath. But
right.
then winter is just cold, right? I actually went on a run today and it was just freezing. Like my
Oh,
ears were freezing off. Yeah, I didn't wear gloves and that was a horrible idea because my hands were freezing too. I was like running and then jogging a bit with my hands in my pockets. It was like horrible form, but it's like,
mm.
I haven't went out in a while. I'm kind of growing kind of fat. Maybe a double chin soon, like you. Uh-huh.
You gonna join the club?
No, I don't want to join the club. That's the club I'd prefer not to
No,
join.
I'm trying to leave the club too.
You spike ball? Do spike ball?
Yeah, but the weather is pretty bad right now. But I've been
Yeah.
going to the gym, like to do like shoulder rehab, and then if I have time, I'll like throw in like.
Did you get the surgery yet?
No, I did not. I did not.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of just hoping that I'll be more careful and my shoulder won't dislocate again.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see, I guess. But yeah, I'll like just
Right.
throw in like 30 minutes of cardio or something, if I have
Mm.
time. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I realize like I am, yeah, pretty out of shape in terms of stuff like that.
Oh,
But yeah. Anyway, yeah.
you want to get in shape?
I'm like, yeah, I mean, I want to, so I guess we can kind of talk about like
Fitness
I
versus.
I want to get in a shape that's like optimal for like activities, like sports. I think like I don't care too much about like aesthetics and like getting stronger in a sense. Um
Abs,
yeah, like abs, like I mean having a strong core is like really important.
but not
Like
just for the image or
yeah,
like
but like
Instagram mirror,
people
right?
say abs are made in the kitchen, right? Like that's just like like your
They really
diet.
say that?
Yeah, like your
How are abs made in
core,
the kitchen?
because like you're eating your diet. It's like your fat
Oh,
content.
really?
Yeah, but
Oh, I
like
didn't
not
know
all
that.
fat is like not. It's not optimal. Like it's pretty hard for you to sustain a diet. I think that's like so little fat that like I don't know, like whatever the percentage is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I've heard. That could be
I
wrong.
just thought you did like, what's it called?
Like
Planks,
you
and then
can't just
you get it
like.
eventually.
I think genetics matter a lot here. Actually, like for some people
Oh,
that actually might be the case, but for I would say probably the majority. Like you can't just get abs just from doing like planks or like crunches or something.
oh
Like it's
man,
like it actually like diet actually matters like a lot for that.
dang. Maybe I've been lying to myself then. I've been doing all these planks to like, I do
I
30
mean,
seconds,
having a
45 seconds.
strong core is very important. Like
Right.
stabilizing, like stabilizers, especially for sports and stuff.
Oh,
Like that's definitely really important.
but like for you, we talked about this concept of fitness versus exercise, right? It's like a concept of keeping yourself in shape versus just like, I don't know, having fun with on an activity, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For
I
you, it's
think
more like activity, right?
yeah,
You don't want to be playing spike ball and then be panting and then or like hiking and then just be wheezing, right?
yeah.
But it's not purely just to you're not doing it just purely for the body image, I guess, or
Right.
yeah, right.
I
I
think it's
guess
just my priorities are um like more sport, yeah, like sports activity based. Like
something you can do with other people.
yeah, like it makes it's obviously like it's much more fun. Like if I'm not like dying after like playing one rally of like spike ball or like just hiking like half a mile, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, like
Right.
one of the cardio things I'm doing, this is kind of a trend actually. I know you hate trends, but this is where I heard of this. It's like it's called, I think it's 12-3-30. So basically you set a treadmill incline of 12 and then you go 3 miles an hour and you can walk, run, whatever, and like you just do that for 30 minutes, and it's like it's actually very tiring. I
On a
realized like
treadmill.
on a treadmill, like you
Oh,
tilt
okay.
it up the incline,
Oh,
like 12, whatever the metric is, and I was like, wow, like if I went hiking now, I probably would not do very well because this is like really tiring. And
right,
I was
right.
like, dang, like this is actually, yeah. And I think it's just like something that I don't know, like one of my favorite hobbies, like ping pong, spike ball, even
Mm,
like volleyball, whatever. Like it's good to like if I can't like I guess optimize like how I'm playing those sports, like if I'm just like training for like a body image, I guess, and it's like
uh-huh.
not translating to like the stuff I enjoy doing, it's kind of like I feel like that'd be so hard for me to even just sustain. Like, what am I like? Oh, I'm just kind of doing this for like body image when like it's like not even helping like whatever my activity is I want to be doing.
Mm, mm. I guess we never talked about your college story, really. I
Hmm.
wanted you to come to Rutgers with me, but you chose not to. Why?
um, yeah, this is I guess kind of a pretty different type of thing, but um, definitely the overarching thing was like I did not want to stay like at home,
Mm,
and I think like I would have been crazy if I stayed at home. And I think
be crazy around people or crazy in your mind? Go crazy.
both maybe.
Both. Okay, okay.
I think like I think I also just had a very strong desire to like see in a sense like explore like the world, I guess. Um and like
Mm.
anyway, I don't know. I grew too comfortable at Rutgers, I think.
Oh, just
And
as a high school student and
yeah, and a big part of me was like I kind of want to go a bit out of my comfort zone.
mm,
And like I don't know, like I lived like 5 minutes from the nearest Rutgers bus
yeah,
stop. Like that's
that's right.
like every time I would visit Rutgers, I didn't even need to ask for a ride. I could just walk to the campus and take the
Yeah,
bus.
right. And
Like
then you can zoom all around the place, right?
yeah. But I don't know. I also like I visited UIUC, um,
Uh-huh.
University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and I met up with like some saints as part of the I guess the Christians on Campus club.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like I got a very strong sense of like kind of like a home away from home
Mm.
feeling. And I was like, wow, like I actually feel like kind of peaceful in a sense. Like just imagining myself like living here for the next 4 years. And I was
Did
kind of like,
did you go to
that's
other campuses like California or other parts of
um
the US? Or was this the only long distance trip, but you just felt at peace?
yeah. Actually, so I only got into University of Illinois and also I got into deferred transfer BU, Boston University. So
Mm.
basically, that's like I'm guaranteed to get in if I transfer my sophomore year. Um,
Oh, okay.
so actually, there was consideration of a plan like, oh, like I could um, like go to Rutgers for 1 year or University of Illinois for 1 year and see how I feel, and then maybe I could even transfer because it's guaranteed, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
I don't even need to like be stressed about it. Like I could just go if I wanted to.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess like after my first year though, like that sense of peace that I had from like just imagining my time here like became kind of real, and it was just like yeah, like I can't really imagine like leaving. And it was like maybe part of me was scared of change. I don't know, like another change,
Right, right.
but it was definitely
Well, now it's your senior year.
yeah.
So how's that? You now you reflect back on it. It was a good right choice. Good
I think
choice.
I think like overall like I don't regret it. The only thing I do maybe regret is like kind of the burden like on my parents. Like I think I should have like worked harder to like get like scholarship or like um
The
yeah, like
ideal self.
it's like it's too yeah, like it's hard to measure things like value, right?
Right.
Like let's say like okay, like paying so much money to go to out of state school. Like, what value am I getting from this? And it's like,
Uh-huh.
sure, like, I'm getting a lot of valuable experiences, like experiences I would not get at Rutgers. So I think in that terms of that, like, I'm pretty happy with that.
Right.
Um, but like, like in terms of education, like Rutgers business school, like Rutgers, I mean, I guess UIUC's engineering is, I guess, better, arguably, depending on the program. Um, but and like business is also like hard to say. Like the value of education, it's the education itself. It's like, was that worth it? That's like something I'm not actually too sure about still, even as a senior. I think I was definitely I was definitely lucky with what I've had so far.
Mm.
Because something that I struggled with was like, oh, what do I even want to study? Like, I don't even know what I want to do.
Oh, same. Tell me about it. I'm still
And so
struggling
it's
with
like,
that. Even though I'm
yeah,
done studying. Yeah.
even though
What do you
you
want
were,
to what do you want to do with life? Yeah.
yeah. And so, but I managed to find myself on some type of career path,
Okay.
information systems, and like, I didn't really expect I'd ever be in a business school either.
Mm.
But that's just the school I got into. And so, yeah, I mean, in
Oh,
terms of that, just looking back.
you don't go into a specific school when you apply.
Oh no,
you.
you do. Sorry, you do.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
So I got into
Gotcha.
the business school,
I see.
and
On this
yeah,
idea of the value of education though, so I guess classes wise you can't really measure up. It's all about the, I guess, outside class experience to the people you meet,
hmm,
right? And but you said this idea that you feel bad for your parents. And I guess tuition wise maybe because you're out of state. But
right.
like what really could you have done? You're a poor high school student with no money. Like
I
what could you
actually
do to help your parents?
I would say that I did not try hard enough. Um, the effort I put in, for example, like looking for scholarships.
Uh-huh.
Think about like how
Looking for
avid
scholarships in college or high school?
both high school and
Oh, in
college.
both?
I've only gotten like one scholarship in college, from like
I
just
wonder if that's a
applying.
hindsight thing. Like I feel that if I sometimes want to blame myself for that, but
Hmm,
then if I picture myself going back in time telling my younger self, hey, go apply for those scholarships or internships. My younger self would yell at me and go, screw off, I'm working as hard as I can. Because I did stay very late at night for a lot of nights just working on projects. You know how I did double major in both stats and history, right? So it's
right.
like two polar opposites. It's like constantly tearing my mind apart. And so I didn't feel like I had other time. And then, church meetings, it's basically like another 3 credit class.
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, so I don't know if I had more time where I could have done better. How about for you? Now that you think about it that way.
I think with the way I manage my time, um, I think let's just think about like when you had to apply for jobs and internships, right?
Sure.
Like, think of the scale of effort you had to put in, the amount of sheer volume just to get back like a
Yeah,
few
that's
things,
right.
if you even got any back, right?
Right.
Like that's like a lot. I think, and that's a lot of effort. And I didn't really realize like how important it was to like you need to just like sometimes like just put in that volume. Like you can't just like I'll do one like today and then I'll do one like in a few weeks. Like you have to like get them in, like
Right. And it's a specific time too, like especially
yeah,
September, October. That's it.
exactly. And
Right.
I think if I and I think I only realize that now because I realized my lack of effort in like things like I don't know, like applying for scholarships was was so bad. Like I think I don't know if my past self would listen to me. Um I think maybe I think just because I think around my freshman year, second semester, I was like, man, I need to stop like just spending my parents' money like all willy-nilly. And
Mhm.
so that's why I picked up a part-time job. And
Right.
so that's why I was like, okay, like this will be my spending money and like so at least like my textbook money. So that at least like my parents don't have to
Pay for
like
that.
do that stuff, even though it's like a minuscule cost compared to like
Well, you got to start
yeah,
somewhere.
tuition. But
You got to
yeah,
start
at
somewhere.
that point, I think that was the most I could do at that point.
Mm.
Um, I think things like, I mean, like getting like a full scholarship is probably pretty difficult at that stage once you're already in college. Like,
Right.
um, so maybe in terms of that, yeah, that's pretty tough. But Yeah, I
But if
think
you
like I
if you
did
did
that.
if you applied earlier like on for an internship, I guess this is something for college students when they go in. It's like for you and me, we didn't really know what we want to do,
That's right.
right? So when we go in, we're trying to figure out what we want to do, but at the same time, people are telling us you got to apply for jobs right now, right?
Right.
So I only discovered this advice after I graduated college. It's that maybe instead of focusing on what you want to do, if you don't know what you want to do in college, just go for something that gets you money. Would you go for that advice or no?
We're talking about like applying for internships and stuff. Yeah, I would. I think honestly, like when I think about my internship that I've done, that was my first one ever, and like I didn't really know what I wanted to do even then. But of course, like you kind of have to just say like, oh yeah, like I'm really interested in this in my career, just to kind of try to get in there, right? And
Sure.
like to say what
Yeah,
you
I
love,
hated that.
just to get your foot in the door.
Right.
But I think that's even though like that's it seems kind of annoying. It's like, oh, I don't even know if I want to do it. But like if you, how will you really actually know if that's what you want to do or you don't want to do if you don't actually try to do
Without
it?
doing it. Right.
Yeah. And so I
You
think
gotta
that is important. Like you need to just at some point like just take a leap somewhere.
for me, I was like, I'm still a student just trying things out. That's how I talk to people too. I'm like, I don't really know, but
Sure, sure.
I just want to try. I don't know if that lost me opportunities because people
Mm,
came off as like he's undecided. He's weak because he can't make a decision. Versus someone who's more forceful is like, this is what I want to do. Stats is awesome. Stats will be the future. I'm not like that. I'm just like stats is a great way to like learn more, be more objective in decision making. You're always like, Austin, show me the stats, right? Don't just complain about how things are going. Show me the stats about how things are. So it is objective and it is objective way to measure things. And I like doing that, but I'm not a stat fanatic, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna put on a display for someone. I'm not gonna be a monkey at the zoo, you know. And so
yeah.
a lot of this process where it's like outward, you gotta display yourself or prove you're unique to other people. I'm just like, screw it. I'm not just gonna put on a show and be fake, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's just like
I think it's
it's not
just
me.
yeah. I think it's important that you hold on to that sense in your identity. Like I think
Oh.
who knows? Uh yeah, I mean, in a
Sell your
sense,
soul.
I don't think I've sold my soul
Be like
yet.
Logan Paul on YouTube, right? Sell your
Uh,
soul. No, don't do that.
but I think like I don't at all regret like applying for internships and going to the internship at all. Like I think if I didn't do that, like I would actually be like even more screwed than whatever like I would have been before. I think it's like I don't think I've sold my soul like yet. Like I think
Okay. I don't want to confuse like selling your soul with applying for internship. Like just
no
because
no
you
no no,
apply
no
for an
yeah,
internship
yeah.
doesn't mean you sell your soul.
Right right
Just
right.
an alert for those out there for those trying to cancel us and like merge Ethan's words together. No, like applying for an internship, you gotta do, right?
Yeah
You gotta like just at least give yourself an opportunity. But like I feel at least you're lucky you got an internship, right?
yeah
That's not selling your soul. Like some people apply for a lot and they can't get anything. I don't know. They might go cry in a corner, and I'll go cry in a corner with them because I kind of felt that, yeah. But I don't know. What do you do? What do you do then? It's just like should you just find a part-time job then if you don't have an internship, or I don't really know. And especially
oh
like you're
well
still trying
okay
to figure out.
if you're talking about like if you don't have an internship I think what you did and what we kind of talked about this like in your undergrad like you should do projects like you should just do what you can do and like you should do like I don't know I've talked to a lot of people who are like honestly like when if I'm interviewing someone I'd much rather hear about like a side project they did that they're passionate about and they
Oh,
could
right.
actually talk about rather than just some random job or internship that they took
We did a
just to
project together, right?
yeah I
That
mean
was that your
yeah
freshman year, summer of your freshman year? I think it was my sophomore year.
hymnal project.
The hymnal project, yeah.
I think that started. Did that not start in high school? That started.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
high school. Maybe that's my
but
freshman year summer then.
maybe.
I'm forgetting too.
Yeah, it's like.
Anyways, for those out there,
Yeah.
basically we have a hymnal in church and it has guitar chords and a lot of the chords were wrong. So Ethan and I sang through the whole hymnal just to make sure the chords were right and fix it up. In the end, there were still some wrong chords when things printed out. I blame Word for that, but Anyways, that's
Formatting.
for next generation to care. I'm like, I did my part, right? That was my project.
Sure.
Did you talk about that with your interviewers, or no? That didn't come up. That's a like. When did
Um,
you ever take an initiative in something? You know, is that a question at interviews?
I actually have not, but I think mainly it's yeah, I've never gotten that kind of question. The question on interviews I've gotten is mainly like, name a time you've like encountered a problem and solved it, or like name,
Gosh.
I don't know, like your strengths and weaknesses, which I actually don't like that question because it's very much like you have to make something up in a sense. Like, you know, I mean, I try to be genuine, honestly, because the more genuine I am, the easier it is to talk about it. Like
Yeah, right.
in like an interview. I actually had an interview today. Um,
If we
and
talked about strength and weakness on this podcast now, would that annoy you?
well, okay, so in the
It's a different setting.
yeah, it's a very different setting. In an
Right.
interview, you're like, oh, like weaknesses and like your
Should interviews be
productivity.
like this podcast?
Um, I think actually the ideal interview is to have like a great conversation with your
Yeah,
interviewer,
I think so too.
because I think like that's like how you stand out really, and it's like
Right.
just being able to talk about stuff. I think like so I had my second round interview today, but my first round interview, like I think the interviewer like liked me like a decent amount, even though I wasn't even able to answer like all the technical questions like exactly correctly.
Mm,
But like I was able to just kind of show my thought process, and like I don't know, we had like good conversation. Like I even asked him just like what do you like near the end of the interview, like, oh, what do you think like your favorite like algorithm is? And he like, I don't know, he like really liked that question for some reason. And I was just curious. I was like, oh, like this guy, like the way he talks to me, it's like he knows data, like he knows
uh-huh.
like he works obviously in this industry. And I was like
Right.
curious, like I was just like, oh, like what's your favorite algorithm? He's just like, he just started laughing, and he's like, that's like a really like funny question. And I
Uh-huh.
think I don't know if that's what pushed it over, but um I
This
think
is
just
first interview.
yeah, and I think just having that
Wow. Okay.
conversation is like that is really important. You have to be able to not just like question and answer, but like question, answer into like something into some kind of conversation.
So that it's no longer a question and answer thing. It's like
Yeah,
a full blown conversation. That's the ideal interview.
yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on interviews, but
Me neither.
I would think that's probably the best way. I think like
I see.
yeah.
Strength and weakness then. Actually, if you want to answer it, but I just thought of something based on strength and weakness. You actually told me something that I didn't realize about myself. It was over text, I think.
Hmm.
I think you told me, Austin, you just really can't stand it when you see a kid just on the couch, just wasting their life away, right? And for
Uh-huh.
some reason, that struck me really deeply because I was trying to like this. I think that you texted me sometime during my senior year, towards the end of it, and I was just like, I don't really know what to do. And there's a lot of frustrating things in my life. I'd really like angry at some people in church, and
Right.
then um, yeah, I felt that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so I was just kind of, I don't know, lashing out the world. And then you just told me that. And I was just like, yeah, so what? But then I thought about it a bit more and it's like, yeah, I really can't stand like, and it's not, I can't stand the kid. It just like, I just can't stand the situation. You know, I just want to do something about it. You know, why is the kid like that? He has so much potential, more potential than me, right? I'm young, but like, I guess my teenage years are gone. Right now it's the 20s to kind of figure out yourself. And for some reason, like, I don't know, I just felt, why didn't I ever see that in myself? And then Ethan
Mm.
told that to me. And so I guess you saw something more in me. I don't know if you remember saying that.
I kind of remember.
You
I think it
kind of
was
remember?
the context was probably like with Joseph, right?
Oh, it was with Joseph.
Maybe not.
Oh,
It's probably with could have been with other people too.
yeah, Joseph was going through something then too. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's like with teaching. It's like maybe eventually I want to teach, but not
Mm.
now. Not
Oh yeah,
now.
we did talk about that.
We did talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
A little
teachers
bit.
I liked did something before they
Mm.
became a teacher. But the teachers who I hated the most were the ones who spent their whole lives teaching. They were purely academic, didn't really care about the student, or felt they knew it all. I can't stand those people.
I
Yeah.
think one of my favorite teachers, he it's actually funny, he's my comp sci teacher, and I honestly like I like did not like comp sci. I like the idea of coding, but just comp sci classes are always like really hard for me. but
Uh-huh.
he was someone who taught like comp sci in high school.
Right.
But before that, he used to work in the industry, and like he was making like bank, according to like, I don't know, everyone. We like looked him up once, and like he was like pretty up there. Like
Uh-huh.
he knew a lot, and like he was clearly there teaching just because like he wanted to teach. And like I always thought that he was always like, I don't know, he was one of my favorite teachers. I think probably
Yeah.
because of the same reason. Like
That was
he
my social
actually,
studies
yeah.
teacher. Yeah, Miss Leahy. She was my AP Euro teacher. I think she worked at Goldman Sachs or something, or
Mm,
Tiffany. So like these big companies. And I also like towards the end of the year, you know how seniors they just go out like during lunch and drive around and no one cares about school anymore, senioritis,
my
right?
school doesn't do that, but I
Oh,
know
your
what
school
you
doesn't
mean.
do that? Oh yeah, my school's like that. And so like I just went to talk to my teachers and I asked her like why'd you quit your job and like teach? You know, she told me something that just stuck with me. She just said, I got bored. Like you got bored and so you just stopped teaching. So no, sorry, stop doing business. And she's like, yeah, we do the same thing over and over again, day after day, year after year. You just want to snap out of it. It's like teaching is different every day. You know, the students will bring something up you never heard before, you never expect, right? And so I guess that's the new thing. And you get to work with the next generation. Yeah,
That is
but
interesting.
I don't want to become my teachers I hated the most. So that's why I don't want to do anything educational related at this point. It's
Not
not to say
not for
every
not for
teacher,
now. Not for now, right?
not for now. For now, I don't. Maybe I'll tutor on the side like weekends. That's still something I'm thinking of doing. I still haven't found my life's path or what I should do. What am I?
Mm.
22, turning 23 this year. Yeah. So that's how things are. But then that's not to say every teacher that just goes into teaching directly is bad. You know, I can imagine
Yeah, of course not.
Nancy being a great teacher, and
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine someone personality who fits the job better than Nancy with like teaching special ed and whatnot. But yeah.
I think for like things like that, I feel like teaching is like such an important job, and it's like I would like to think that like every teacher cares about their kids, like their students,
No.
and it's like, but the thing is like I feel like what makes, quote unquote bad teachers, what we as students think of them as bad, I feel like it's like the lack of like care, like respect, even like I don't know, like I would like to think teachers get into teaching because they care, but because it's obviously not for the money, right? Because like teachers don't get paid too much
For high school teachers.
for high school, right?
Professors, different story,
Yeah,
right?
but professors are
They
also
get
probably doing
research, right?
research,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So they're
And
not there for
so
teaching sometimes.
I find that interesting. Like, yeah, I feel like you brought up Nancy. I feel like Nancy's someone like who probably does like just care about like kids. I feel like that would be what makes someone like,
A
I
good
don't know,
teacher.
like a good teacher. Like, maybe sometimes it's not enough. Maybe you do need like something more. But I feel like if you care about them, like that means you're willing to go like, I don't know, like the extra mile for them. Like
I
you
feel
want them
like
to succeed.
the younger you are, the better the teacher. Like the smaller the grade, the better the teacher. I feel like
Mm,
sort of around middle school, teachers stop caring about students and they feel like it's more like on the student themselves to do better. And then some high school teachers just like, well, I'm teaching an AP class, I'm treating you like a college student. Well, no, it is an AP class, yes, like it is a college course, but they're still teens. And you still got to help them or treat them as teens. You can't just think that you're teaching a college course and then just treat it that way. You know what I mean? I had a teacher who just said that
yeah,
directly. Yeah.
I had
But you
there's
see, like, I'll use Nancy again. She's doing special ed for like elementary school students, right? I
Mhm.
feel like that stage very important for kids. But as you go
Yeah,
higher, there's still a need for special ed, but it's not realized.
yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they assume that once you pass sixth grade, you don't need special ed anymore.
Mm,
But or it's just not as integrated. Or there's like I guess there's skills you got to know, like algebra. How do you special ed algebra? You know what I mean? I guess you have to take
mm,
time to teach the kid it. But like even some of the special ed teachers, like they
yeah.
wouldn't they wouldn't know math. Sorry, they wouldn't not know math. It's just they probably wouldn't be able to explain the concept because they themselves might not know it. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
education is a really rough thing, honestly, to get into. I mean, I'm not like personally I'm not at all an expert on it, but I think just like, I mean, just as I guess our experience of going through the education system, like the teachers that like you remember are like the ones that like they treat you like you are.
Yeah.
And it's like I remember I had some friends, I like this teacher too, but I didn't really have him like I only had him for like 1 year, and my other friends like had him for like 2 years. And they had like a kind of deal, like, okay, if you get like 95 and above, if the four of you guys get like average 95 and above, like I'll buy you guys pizza. And
Wow.
it's like
Yeah.
he just wanted them to like succeed, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah.
and they would just like, and they had like cultivated like a relationship. Like they would just go to his classroom and like talk to him and stuff. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. It's like, I mean,
You
it
go
seems
beyond your
it,
pay grade in a
yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah, it is, yeah,
You go beyond pay
yeah,
grade, right? With the minimal money you have, you're still willing to spend it on kids, or not
yeah.
kids, your students. Then yeah, those are always the best teachers. I had an AP Chem teacher who invited us over to her house to study.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
that was
crazy.
pretty cool. She lived in town. Yeah,
Wow,
so
that's
cool.
something.
Yeah, but there were some really good teachers that I had that still stick with me. Even though I didn't go into chem, I'm still thankful for her
Yeah,
for
for
doing that.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you thank people for that. I guess after you leave high school, I don't know if teachers are one of the people we leave behind. Remember at the beginning we are talking about social media,
Mm,
right? I don't
yeah.
you don't even follow them on social media. But then it's like some teachers you don't even know where they really go.
I know some people. One of my favorite teachers, she was an AP Lit teacher.
Uh-huh.
Um, I have a friend who's still like who like got her number at when they graduated, and like
Uh-huh.
they like text her and they know what like what's going on in like the school and
I
stuff.
see. I still email some of my teachers from
Oh,
time to
okay,
time.
that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. College professors too. Well, college professors are more recent. That's a different story.
Mm,
But teachers, yeah. I think I think there's still a bond there. You
yeah,
wanted that type of bond with your professor or something?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Whenever you told me your experience with one of your
With
professors,
one of my professors?
like that sounds like sure, like it seems like negative, kind of and rough, but it's like
Sure,
I
he's
don't know,
cursing at
like
me. Sure,
you,
he's
like you want someone who's
saying
giving it
how
to you
bad I am at
straight,
math.
like
Yeah,
you want someone to give it to you like how it
straight.
is, like
Yeah, just genuine. I like
yeah.
that.
And it's like I don't know, like honestly, like I would even yeah,
Do you
like
think our society won't do that anymore? Because like, if a professor did that to a student, like they'd be like, the student sued the school, like the professor would get in trouble. Like I guess I
I would be
could have done that, but then I didn't want that because I felt that this guy's being completely genuine to me.
no,
Like sure
I
he's trashing me, but like, and how about how I'm so bad at math and how the hell did I get to this point in math? But like he's bringing truth, you know what I mean? So I felt that I felt I was lacking that in life. That's why I guess that's why I was attracted to like keep going back to his office hours too. Cause like people were just like, you're doing great, Austin. Don't worry. Let the Lord take care of everything. And so with that type of genuineness, just like telling me things are bad, I felt like, wow, finally someone's giving it to me straight, Doc.
sure.
Yeah, but you want that too.
Yeah, I
Someone to
mean,
give it to you straight.
yeah, for sure. I think the closest thing I ever had in college is that to that is like one of my professors who taught a business intelligence course. It's actually kind of what drove me to like go into this field a bit more and take internships. He played ping pong, and like he asked us like, oh, like does anyone here play? And so like I actually played with him a few times. Like we used to have like regular-ish like table tennis
Is this the
sessions.
one you want to do the healthcare project with, or police shooting
Yes,
project? Yes, this is the
yes.
guy.
But yeah, but
All
his
right.
I haven't talked to him in a while because he said his back was hurting. But like
No.
whenever we'd play, we'd like talk about like things, and like he would sometimes like just be like, dude, like he was like, do you remember when you took this course? Like, was it that hard to remember what a p-value was? I was like, no, like I'm like, no, p-values are like they shouldn't like your students should not be like forgetting what they are like within like a few days. Like we use them enough in this class, we should know what like what it means at least.
I don't
And
want
he
to put you on the spot. You remember what a fee value is? Or can you define
well,
it?
I I know enough to like it's you can use it to like kind of measure like the significance of like a variable, right?
So yes,
Like
that's right.
you want like a less than what is it 0.05,
Sure, alpha point
or
zero
I
five.
guess it could depend, right? What
Right,
you're
alpha
gonna do.
depends.
But
But
like
what
that
does that 0.05 mean? Do you
that's
know?
true. I actually don't know that. That's like
Okay,
theoretic,
that's
like
me, right? That's what
more
I should take
theoretical
care of.
stats that I
Right.
actually should learn and
No,
had a
it's only
foundation in.
I think all stats
So,
major. Because I feel like business people, you just need to you need to be simple in business. Just present the results to manager every quarter,
yeah,
and that's it. I'm always being told like keep things simple. It's too
sure.
complicated, Austin. Simple it down. And I'm just like, geez, but that leaves out a lot of these assumptions. They're just like, forget about it. Just simple, simple.
Well,
Get it
I
across
think
to people.
I think practically though, it is better to know like that kind of information. Like you should like I will say my stats foundation is very weak, and I think I need to like take
Sure,
care
but
of
then
that
your
before
stats
it
foundation is good. Then it's your math foundation that's not. You know what I mean? You always keep going a level deeper.
that's true.
And then
That's
it's like
true.
math foundation stable, but your logic reasoning is not as stable. And then you have to go
Mm.
to philosophy. I guess it all traces back to philosophy then.
All traces back to philosophy.
Yeah, really. Because math is like built on logic, or true or false. If you can find one counterexample, it's false, right? And then
Sure.
true things are true always, never false, right? And then on top of that, you put math, you put applicable math, like that's stats, really.
Mm.
Math applied with probability, right? And then on top of that, I guess you put business. We make a lot of business decisions based on stats. So, but I don't think we should do that. There should be a healthy combination of stats and experience in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you don't know if the stats you have is common sense or not. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You were saying though that you got into this field of business analytics through your professor, and then you think that you don't have a solid stats foundation, but you should.
Yes.
I'll tell you what p-value means then. So if you assume the null hypothesis is true, you know what the null hypothesis is, right?
Mm.
HO, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What you assume to be true.
Right.
If you assume that to be true, the probability that you would have gotten what you got, the distribution that you got,
That's the p-value.
that's the p-value, I think.
You
Yeah,
think?
that's how I remembered it. Like because no one knows what the p-value is, and so like
Wait, what do you mean
I
no
try to
one?
memorize it. Like like you always use the p-value. It's like, oh, as long as this greater, it's less than less than alpha, then I could just reject, right? That's
That's
how
me.
most people think.
That's my business mindset for that.
Right, right, and that's how most people think too. I think even stats didn't think that way. But then one day I was like, wait a sec, I've been using this so much. How do I not know what it is? So I went and Googled it,
Mm.
and then I think that was the definition.
So you actually didn't learn that in your classes.
No, because why would you get tested on
Wow,
it?
that's actually interesting to me.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't. I mean, it's in the textbook, right? You should know as a stats major what it is, but you don't have to know. I think.
Mm.
I'm always afraid to define it too, because there's a lot of people that's like, this is what a p-value is not, right? It's anything that has probability in it, it's not, right? But then I don't think so. Like, let me Google that right now, p-value. I think it has something to do with probability, given that you assume something is true. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize like the like yeah, like the what it
Ah,
actually
here it
like
is. See, it is the probability. The probability of attaining test results at least as extreme as the results observed, under the assumption that the null hypothesis is correct. Boom. That was the definition. I memorized it. I was correct, Ethan.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you got that
I'm
validation.
glad you're glad that I know what I'm doing in my major. You're glad you're glad
Hey,
I know
I
what
feel
my
like
major is.
I don't know what I'm doing. So
What's your major? Business intelligence,
information systems.
information systems.
Yeah, business intelligence. I don't know if there are colleges that actually have a degree in that, but business intelligence is basically just like I like on a very general level, it's just like making like business decisions based off of like data analytics, basically.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's like,
Yeah, I don't think you need to know that stuff. That's just more theoretical stuff. That
yeah, but
if
it
you wanted
yeah,
more to know
it
more.
definitely though. I think it just helps though to kind of even in a sense immerse like in that kind of thing
Right.
rather than like just randomly using stuff. Like for example, like machine learning algorithms. Like sure, I can like spout out names like k nearest neighbors, support vector machines. Like
I don't know any of this
do
stuff.
I actually know the mathematical theory behind each one? No, I don't.
Yeah, you have to talk to Alan
But,
for that.
but like
Alan would
yeah,
probably know, or Alan actually
he
would know
probably would.
what the
He probably
concept
would.
behind it, but he wouldn't know the name. He'd be like, "What is that?" But then once you show it to him, and
Mm,
he'll investigate himself too a bit. What is it exactly? He wants to get to the nitty gritty stuff. Like we were talking about QAnon one time, and then he was like, "Why do people believe it?" And I'm just like, I don't know. Why would people believe Democrats eat babies? I don't know. And then he started looking it up. And then I don't know if the FBI tracked him because of that, but then he looked it up. He tried to figure it out. That's just who Alan is as a person.
The FBI tracked him.
I don't know if the FBI tracked him. They wouldn't find anything funny or like, well, I should say anything funny. They
How
wouldn't find
likely?
anything.
How likely do you think it is that like I don't know, the FBI is actually tracking you?
Not likely given all that's going on, you know.
Like
I just don't.
currently, or
I
just
just
in
don't.
general?
Currently, with like with Trump and the QAnon and fake election, Russia right now,
Russia.
right? I don't think that they have time to track people. But I don't know if it's like a keyword like QAnon pop. Oh, we got to look into it. You know, like I don't know if they're doing that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of craziness out there right now. Yeah. Yeah. They spent all their resources trying to figure out whether Trump had dealings with the Russians, right? That was FBI or maybe CIA. Anyways, that was the Mueller report and all that. So I think, and then January 6th, they had to arrest all these people, right? Who are storming the Capitol. Some of them are unrepentant. They're just like, I'm okay being in jail for President Trump and this fake election, whatnot. I mean, like, it's crazy. I don't know how you could say it's a fake election. Why not every election's fake, you know? If like Donald Trump won 2016, is that fake too because of Russian interference? Like, where's the evidence for that? So I don't know. I hate the world. I hate this world right now. How it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like what's happening right now with like Russia and Ukraine. How are you like pretty read up on it?
I mean, see, I don't think I'm that read up, but then when I talk to people, they're like, "Oh, Austin, you're super read up." But then I'm like, I don't think so. I just like I have the same resources you have access to. Why would you not? Like my reaction, I don't want to sound like like speaking from a high horse, but like I have the same resources you have. Why are you not caught up with what I am caught up with, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, personally, I would say I'm not read up, but like I don't even understand why. Like, okay, like there's always been tension between Russia and Ukraine, right? And then like, but why suddenly can they just do this without any regard for like NATO or whatever? Like, I guess like okay, we don't want nuclear warfare,
Uh,
right? But like, why? I don't know, like I don't really understand what drove things to happen that like they.
Ukraine, like so, if you listen to Putin's side, I think he goes into little history. Of course, it's a little warped, right? But that's why you got to read into what he says. Ukraine at parts was part of Russia in history. It
Right.
wasn't its own country, right? But that changed. Putin said it changed because Lenin created Ukraine as a province. I actually have to look into that whether that's true or not. But anyway, sometime in the 1900s, Ukraine became its own country. I don't know if it was. I think it was after World War One, and then World War Two, of course, it's getting taken over by the Soviets. So I guess it got reabsorbed by the Soviets. But then that's not Russia. Like Putin hates this communism and Soviets, and so he just says this Ukraine was something Soviet created, like it's a bad thing, right? And so,
Do you
but
think we'd
this.
see this kind of thing like similar like with like I don't know like China and Hong Kong or something?
Oh,
Is
so they're
that
saying it's Taiwan, China's
or
Ukraine,
Taiwan? Yeah.
right? So they're making this comparison right now. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know if now that attention is focused on Russia and Ukraine, like China might start doing something with Taiwan. So now that U.S. attention
it's
is
pretty scary.
divided,
Like,
yeah, it could escalate into a
do you
world
think
war.
do you think that might actually happen?
There's three possibilities of what can happen right now, and I'll give you a probability of each. What I think, right? Don't take anyone's word at it. Don't take my word for it. But first possibility is Russia just blitzkriegs across Ukraine and wins the war in less than 6 weeks,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
That's the best situation for Russia, and then we don't have to think of world war because like what do we defend from, right?
Yeah.
I say maybe that's a third of a chance. I don't know, like, and
Third?
then third, I don't know, because three options, right? So equally likely all three. I don't know. Second option is that Ukraine kind of pulls like a Stalingrad on Russia. Like even though all its military stuff is knocked out, Russia bombs its capital city, maybe even takes over parts of it. Like they're gonna be hiding in buildings, shooting at Russian soldiers. Because like in cities it's very hard to wage warfare, conventional warfare, right?
Because
It's
of like
house to house
civilians
fighting.
and stuff.
Not just civilians. Like how do you pass a tank through a city,
That's true.
right? So if there's fallen buildings everywhere, or especially if your airplane's bombed, like the buildings and they collapse,
It's like
it's
very
like
guerrilla warfare. Like,
perfect guerrilla warfare setting. Perfect. So it would be a Stalingrad, right? And so the Russians will have to fight tooth and nail for it. that would give the world enough time to start reacting. Because I don't think if given how fast things are moving right now, I don't know if Ukraine will survive. But if they do have a tenacity and keep fighting, that it might become like the world will start reacting. Give the world time, and then they might start, sanctions might set in. Putin might start having trouble at home, you know, and uh,
You don't think the US
there's
is
a
gonna step
chance
in anytime soon?
because Ukraine's not part of NATO, and if the
Right.
U.S. steps in, then it becomes, that's the third possibility. Like the U.S., I don't think, because we don't have an appetite for war. We just pulled out of Afghanistan,
Mm.
right? So I don't think we want to go to war. But if Ukraine asks us to interfere on their behalf, that could lead to a world war. That's the third
Because
situation where
didn't
Ukraine asks us to insert ourselves into the war.
but Russia also said like didn't they say something like if anyone um like
Interferes
interferes, they will like face the consequences.
like never before in your history.
Yeah.
Yes, Putin said that himself. Yeah, very ominous warning. Right.
Hmm.
But
Chaos, man.
so I don't know. He's playing
Do you
hardball.
know? You know TikTok, right?
I know TikTok. I don't use it, but I know
So
TikTok.
there's like a trend on TikTok now, actually, and
Uh-huh.
it's very related to the war. It's like, sorry, not the war, but the conflict currently. And
It's basically a war at this point. Yeah.
there's like people are going like, oh no, like Stalin, like please, like I'm too young to go to war, like I don't, I don't want to do this, and they're it's like, it's kind of weird to see how like I guess Gen Z in a sense like copes with this type of thing. Like they start making memes.
Yeah.
They just start
Yeah.
making memes, you know.
Right.
And like there's even people who are like posting TikToks like parachuting from a plane, and there's just like a video of like soldiers like
Wow.
it's actually like crazy.
Is this by Russian soldiers or Ukrainian soldiers? You don't know.
I don't even know how real it is, but like it seems
Oh,
pretty real. But like of course it's social
wow.
media, so anything could be faked. But
Right.
anyway, like it's like people are like doing really silly, dumb like trends, and it's just like it's so interesting. Like, how did people do this kind of thing back then? Like they just like freak out,
They drew political
like
cartoons.
they blew photo over. That was the meme back then.
That was the
Memes
memes
back
back
then.
then. Really, I think when I see a political cartoon, it's almost like it's almost it's the prototype of a meme, really.
That's actually kind
That's
of true.
that's just how people vented back then, I guess. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And now we have memes, I guess. That's what replaced political cartoons. I guess future historians, when they analyze our period of time, they have to analyze memes, I guess, as their job rather than
man,
political cartoons.
it's always
Oh
crazy
man.
whenever I think about like whatever we're living through now is going to be in
History.
the history books, right?
Yeah, I feel
That
that
is
since we
crazy.
criticize ourselves so much, we might get criticized even more for it. Haha, we're the
Mm,
generation that criticizes people and doesn't even realize their own shortcomings of sitting in front of a screen criticizing people.
yeah. That's
So, yeah, maybe you'll be the first to write something on that. But
it.
I think about that too. Yeah. Do I want to be
Mm,
part of this generation? I mean, I guess I am part of this generation, just age-wise. But then it's like, do I really like what's going on? This goes back to the trend thing. You kind of
yeah.
like like Doctor Strange when he pushes them into the astral realm, right? It's like the realm
Mm,
you see everything from a third person point of view. Sometimes,
yeah.
yet I do that to myself with history or like thinking about myself. It's like, am I really proud of myself right now? Or it's like, and just analyze the moment like that. Yeah. But yeah,
Do you think you said?
I'm gonna be doing a podcast soon with Andrew, I think, on Ukraine. So that's coming up. And he's gonna
Oh,
be roasting me with questions. So I gotta be more prepared.
you better read
Yeah.
up on. You better actually read up on that.
I'm gonna read up more on it. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's like I don't know what you said about um, do I want to be part of this? Like, how? Like, what other choice do you think you have? Like, you're here in this country, like living, like going through your life or whatever. Like, is there
Uh-huh.
really a way you cannot be a part of it?
I'm not saying not to be part of the country, but be
Or no,
part
not
of
necessarily the country, but you're here, right? Like, even if you moved, you'd still be part of something. Like,
of course you'll always be part of something, but I kind of think like I have an individual view of like how things work. Like an individual It's not society that causes change. It's always up to the individual first to cause a spark, right?
Hmm.
It's like a shift in thinking, like Newton, right? He had to live during the 1700s, right?
Sure.
But like he saw something that could have worked for things like now, right? Calculus, right? Or
Yeah.
physics, right? So he was, you could say, we have the phrase beyond his time, right? I
Hmm.
want to be a person beyond my time, in that like I'm not just like doing things just because everyone else is doing it. I see things before they happen. Of course, that doesn't like, I talked with Clayton about this. It's like, well, with history, I guess it's like predicting what will happen. I mean,
Yeah.
this is just last week. He was asking me, "Do you think there's going to be a war?" I'm just like, I don't want to predict it, right? But because like I feel like if you predict things, you get it wrong. It's like it has to do with your credibility too. So I really don't like to predict things unless I know for certain it's going to happen.
You don't want to get canceled?
It's not cancel.
Say
It's
the
just
wrong
like if
thing.
the boy who cried wolf too many times, right? If you're going to say there's
Mm.
war and inflation or stock market crash every single year, then people won't believe you. Only say
Yeah.
it when you think it's actually going to happen. So that's for me too. I didn't think that war was going to happen a week ago because I didn't think Putin had the balls to do what he did, but I think yes he did have the balls to do what he is doing.
It's
So
kind of crazy.
yeah, I mean, he is. I feel like he's the reincarnated form of Otto von Bismarck, like who reunified Germany through 3 wars. I think Putin is the modern day reincarnation of him. Yeah, because I don't know, you just got the balls to stand up to the whole world and just like screw you all. I'm doing what I want. You know, like
It's dangerous though. It act
of
like it's
course it's dangerous. If
literally
it,
playing with people's lives.
yeah, yeah, right. I don't know how he feels about that,
Yeah,
but
that's
again,
like I don't
he was a
know.
KGB agent, so like I feel like he like his whole career has been playing with people's lives. So
Hmm.
I guess he's become callous to it. I don't know. What do you think about that? Playing with people's lives. You think people like because of the society or the job they take, they grow callous to it, and then they just okay with it. They're just like, well, it's not about a human life. It's about the grand scheme of things, you know.
Well, I think just thinking purely like how people end up. I haven't thought that far ahead in my career or life, but like just like the concept of this is something that does sound attractive, I guess. Because there's less work involved, I guess. Like at some point like buying like a house and like just using that and then like Airbnb it or something like kind of investing in like having passive income, right?
Okay,
That
okay.
way you can avoid like sure maybe you'll be callous at whatever everyday job you have currently, and then you can actually kind of leave that and like pursue other interests
Oh,
while
you
you're
wanna
making money
you
on the
wanna be
side.
I talked to Clayton about this. Self-sustaining, not
I
self-sustaining.
I think it's just I don't know.
Self-sufficient.
I think it just makes more sense that way, but at the same time, like I don't really know how I feel about like working in a like my current concept about like working just a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life is very
Uh-huh.
like it's disgusting to me. Like, do I
Oh,
really want to
really?
do this? Yeah. But
I
like
see.
I also do I really even have a choice? Maybe,
Oh,
but I haven't really explored all those kinds of options yet. So I mean, I don't know, like when you're saying like people are just okay with it, like I mean, in a sense, like if they don't go out of their way to try to do something else, like what else can they really do? Like it's not like someone else is gonna just give them a random opportunity, right?
yeah, exactly, right. Opportunities don't fall on your lap. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, treating people okay, this is like a bit of a tangent. Because I did want to talk, I forgot I did kind of want to talk about this too, but like think of like healthcare and like EpiPens, right? So
Okay.
I actually I asked my sister about this, like, um, why are EpiPens so expensive? And she was just like the cost, like the drug is the same. Like we're still using the same drug that we've been using. Like
Uh-huh.
it's not a different drug. Like whatever they're developing, like the only thing that's changing is maybe like the engineering of like
Okay.
the thing, right?
Right.
But like companies can just charge whatever they want. It's an example in economics, right? Inelasticity. Like you have to buy it no matter what the price is because you're just gonna die if you don't have it, right? Like in the worst case something happens. And it's like one of those things that's like people have no choice but to just like accept it because that's what their life is. They need the EpiPen and they have to pay whatever the price is.
Ah,
And so I feel like I don't know. I mean, we experience that kind of thing all the time. Like people are just, you're just forced to accept this for the way things are because you have to. Like, it's not exactly something you can do too much about, I guess.
Do you know who Peter Schiff is?
Peter Schiff. I do
He's the
not.
guy who, like, during the Occupy Wall Street protest, he went down to the protest and was like, I'm the 1%. Talk to me. What do you think the issue
Oh,
is?
I think you told me about that before.
Yeah, and then he's basically defending capitalism. He's very successful at doing it too. He says all the problem is actually the government's fault. It's the government regulations that we have in place that makes the system super unfair. If we had pure capitalism, we wouldn't be having all this trouble. So while you were saying that on EpiPens, I was thinking, like, is there a pure capitalist argument for this?
Hmm.
So, like, maybe I'm thinking, like, is it because, like, certain companies have a patent on the EpiPen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
With the FDA, and the government is the one that approves the patent, right? And
that's
so they're
true.
like, okay, this is the only company that can make it. Well, if that's the only company that make it, then there's no competition. So if there's no competition, then that defeats the purpose of capitalism. Then you could just create a monopoly. It's a government-induced monopoly. Versus, like, if you had a startup, right? Like maybe that's why there's no startup like EpiPen companies. It's because you
Hmm.
can't do it because someone already has the formula for it and they've copyrighted it or whatever because of government processes, right? And they can't make it better either because the government processes. So I wonder if we but then I don't know. Should we just get rid of government patents then? I don't know what the best way is to go for that. Is that
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, this is obviously an issue
Peter
that's
Schiff
gonna.
like hates the government, so he would be like completely for getting rid of the FDA, just
But I
cutting
think
down.
it's the thing is like, okay, for that, it's not actually just like the FDA. Like, there's also like, I don't know, like there's probably just like exclusive agreements like among like companies and like insurance, like that.
Ooh.
And that's all because I mean, I guess that's, I mean, sure you can trace everything back to the government, right? Like they allowed private companies to whatever, but
No. But no. With respect to private companies, you're just a private company. There's no interference with the government. They don't allow you or not allow you to do anything. They
well,
shouldn't be
like what
able.
I mean is like, I guess like getting that patent, right?
Oh,
Like
okay.
cop or like what do you call it? Like, yeah, like patenting, like so that other people can't do it, right?
Right. But then you can have like medical like association deal, like like an entity outside of government. You know how like you get a medical like degree, it's not the government assigning it to you. It's like the medical association or whatnot that does it, right?
Hmm.
So we should have a board for that medically instead of like government regulated. And that's even better because government sometimes doesn't know what they're doing. Why would you want someone like I don't want to spat at politicians and get politicized here, but like why would you want those people who know like nothing about medicine or like your specialty, like making decisions on things? That should be like and like think about DMV, so inefficient. If we had like
Hmm.
a private like company that dealt with all that, I think things would be so much better. There's no motivation to improve the DMV because I mean it's
Some
government owned. It's not going to go away.
someone told me about like they're like just systems, like I don't know, like healthcare, like even the post office, like,
Hmm,
and it's how like the
that's the
government
big one.
just like they like whatever, like what is it, like crippled the post office, like um I don't know, like efficiency,
Yeah,
and it's just like
right.
like 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 why are like what are we really doing here, I guess, like.
I don't know. It's just I think that as once things don't become susceptible to market forces, the laissez-faire, the invisible hand, right?
Mm,
They start growing into bureaucracy or like things. If you're not subject to the forces of the market, if you're never going to be bankrupt, then you don't have to care about customer service or competition or anything like that. You know you're always going to be around, so you're almost like a parasite, just sucking the blood out of taxpayers, I guess in this case. Yeah.
yeah.
But again, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen really. I have an idea what's gonna happen, but
Mm.
yeah, not quite sure. Yeah, maybe this is the year the U.S. dollar finally collapses, which probably goes into the economic talk we're gonna have. But I think for today we'll end here.
This is the year. Huh.
Yeah. Do you have anything you wanted to say? Last things you want to discuss?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, I think we're
We'll
good.
we'll just continue next time then.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you,
for having me,
Ethan, for
Austin.
joining. Yep, of course. And then hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Sounds good.
All right.